Okay. I hope the technique works, and I think we are live. Let me see here. Okay, guys, sorry for just being quiet, but I just need to see if everything is working here, getting set up. Yes, it seems to be working. Cool. How is yeah? How is the sound? Is this okay? Yeah, cool. Lots of people on the chat there already. Very cool, very cool. Thank you. This is an honor to be part of Lightbox 2020. We had to do it in this way. I'm sitting home in Moss, in a small city in Norway. It's 8 o'clock in the evening here, but it's yeah, it's cool to be part of this weekend. It's been a cool weekend, and especially the drawing together on this magma studio. That's been crazy. That's been really fun. So, alrighty, sketching characters from imagination. So that's what I'm gonna show. I just also wanted to show you that on my wall here, in the artist aisle, there is something in the bin. The same brush pack I will use now. So if you want to check that out, you can. It's basically my 5 favorite brushes. So these brush set, I took this one with, I use this quite a lot, but the other 4 are just essential to me, and especially like the round brush, and then one of these, depending on how rough I want the look to be, and then an airbrush. So that's essential. But this is a really nice texture brush. It's a good 5 brushes. I could easily survive on these 5 for pretty much anything. But I also want to have like a huge thanks to Bobby Chu and the Lightbox team for having me, and a huge thanks to the Procreate guys for letting me show Procreate 5X, because this is a unreleased beta version of the app. So I'm gonna show some cool stuff, some new features. It's a really fun update. It's a big update. Not gonna show everything, but I'm gonna show some fun stuff as we get along with some sketching here. But it is a beta, so it has some bugs. It's not totally ready for the store yet, so you have to just bear with me on the sketching part. So these are sort of the type of sketches that I want to kind of show you how I doodle about, and it's sort of a mixture between blocking and line art, and sort of getting inspired by what you're painting as you paint it. You know, it's not, the decisions are being made as you go along. So as I will show you now, and let's see how long we also go, because it's here you see a few of the cool new tricks actually for the new 5X. Some cool filters there. Yep. So let's just get started. I'm gonna start with a new canvas, and I'm just gonna use screen size for the sketching here, the top one. It's the iPad Pro I'm sitting with here. I believe it's the 2018 version, the first one with a pencil, Apple Pencil 2, that magnetically charges on the side. And I'm not gonna be very. I'm gonna read the comments sometimes, but yeah, that's gonna make me quiet and stop painting. So I'm gonna look a few times every now and then on the comments. Alrighty, okay. So my quick menu setup is like this. So I can flip horizontally here. So I just drag up and let go. These are kind of like your shortcuts. If you're used to Photoshop and if you're new to Procreate, set up your quick menu, because that's gonna make your workflow super fast and really cool. It's one of the most important things for a workflow. And straight up you get erase, straight down you get paint. You also see one of the new features here. You can have more than one quick menu. And I have alpha lock down to the right, and then my two favorite brushes on the left there, round and the rull jita. So I just pull down here, let go, and then I have this one. This is kind of like the newest version of the Nico-rull that comes with the app. So it has evolved into this one. So this is my newest creation for that, and it's my favorite one of these. And then you have the round brush, which is very basic but also super powerful, and you can do anything with it. And then it's the other, like this one is also like a rull, but it's a bit more fine, not so rough as this one. So these are. Here is another small bug. Like this is the brush set, but if I pull down here for this one, it's gonna send me into my Nico brush set. So don't mind that. It's still the same brush as this one. These are exactly the same ones. So that's one of the few beta bugs. But and then the airbrush. It's just like a grainy airbrush. And this one, bleed rand. So the harder I press, the more paint comes out, but it's not like opacity or size, it's just more of the brush is touching the paper, if you will. So it's really cool for like vegetation or wrinkles or stuff like that. So and if you tap with it, it gives a different expression. And that's also what I love about like the rull jita. You can have this very texturized tapping. You can paint really texturized with it, but you can also have it small and it's almost like a pen or a pencil. So I like these brushes that can do different things all together. So that's my and just to promo a bit more for myself here. You can buy some of my brush packs here. There's a link to my Schoolism course, my Gumroad tutorials and brush packs, ArtStation, where I also have a bunch of prints, and Instagram, and some free stuff in the bin there, and so that's also, I'm in aisle 700 so you can check that out later. Okay, let's just get started. So, sketching from imagination, characters. So what I like to do is I usually start out with kind of like a fairly big brush, and I'm starting out with, it's the face there. It's more like a portrait thing. I'm probably not going to do like a full body thing, but if you just start out with some shapes like this, and you're thinking like this is the head of something, right? So this can be anything. It can be human, but let's stick to human pretty much, but it can also be animals, right? So that's the start, that's the shape of the head. And now it's about placing the eyes, but I'm not drawing the eyes in the beginning. I'm just drawing sort of the shadow where the eyes should be. And also the nose. That's sort of the first thing I put in. So I'm not using line art here. This is more like a blocking phase, because I'm still sort of want to get inspired to where these characters are heading. Like, I don't know what these are going to look like in the end. So I'm still sort of testing the waters. It's still just playing. And that's also important to me. I want to keep it playful. But as soon as you put in those sort of eye sockets, if you will, or shadows where the eye should be, you already see the face. Like, it's already characters there. And then you can, so that the eyes and the nose tell a lot about the face. And then you can maybe play around with kind of like the hair, like how much should that take? Maybe it's a, in some cases it's not hair, maybe it's a helmet, or, depending on what you're drawing. And I have the white background here, but I'm also going to play with that so that we can use more of the light just to darken everything around. So here it's still like the guy on the left here. Let's say I will have him be more in the dark, but so I'm just darkening everything around him, just so he kind of pops out. And now it's the eyebrows are also very telling for a character, like the mood of a character. And also if it's very cartoony or not, this is up to you. So the eyebrows are really saying a lot about if the character is mad or happy. I'm gonna put in some bigger eyebrows on this guy. So it's just about, and as soon as the eyebrows are there, then you see a bit more of where this character is heading. And then the eyes, but I'm very often I'm not detailing anything at this point. I'm just blocking in, just playing with it, just to see where it goes. And I'm using only the one brush for now, and that's the one I'm going to use the most. But I will also show you the other ones in action. So she has a lot here. I can pick color off the canvas. Maybe she has a ear. Here's a little cool thing that if you're new to Procreate, this is quick shape. You can draw a shape and hold it down, and it will turn into a quick shape, and I can edit, you can go in, you can move it around. It's really cool. And it works for like if you want a straight line. That was not a straight line. So you can choose point A, point B. It's really, really nifty feature. I don't want that line there for now. And I draw very small, like this is on an iPad, and you see how small they are. So these are really thumbnails, but that's where I want to be in the beginning. I want to be thumbnail size, because you just want the main expression to come across at this point. You don't want to start noodling on detail. And if I go in here, I'm going to start detailing. It's not as, this is the more playful part here. So that's important. Keep it zoomed out and small. And it's not, except for maybe the eyes and the nose, it's not like a particular order that I do things in. Like it's not like the eyebrows has to come before the hair, for example, or anything like that. So that doesn't matter. But I would start with definitely the shape of the head, and then where the eye shadows are. This one is already like a flat character down there. Maybe it has a long nose. Yeah, but let me start out. Let me do one at a time here. So black, gonna turn black. You can also loosen this cool little color picker. It's a floating color picker. I love the classic one, but you also have all kinds of stuff here. Okay, so let's just start with a little shape. I have to make a new layer. I'll just take a look in the chat box here just to see what's going on. Yeah, it's nice there's so many people here. Cool. Sorry for becoming suddenly very quiet. I haven't showed much new features yet, but okay, let's just sketch a character here. So that's enough. That's enough for the startup, just the shape of a character. And I'm gonna put in the eye shadows. It's probably a better term for the eye shadows, but it kind of includes where the eyebrow will also go, depending, but it also has where the eye itself will be, and also maybe even the sort of the shape under the eye. So that's sort of what I mean with the eye shadow. It's like if you went to a sculpting course, it's where you would remove the clay, you know, to make the room for the eyes. So I'm not very precious in this beginning here with what I'm doing. This is the playful time. And that's so important with the sketching. Just try to be loose, try to be playful. Don't be too precious of what you're doing in the beginning. And a nice thing also with this being loose and, you know, sketching out one of these characters in a fairly short amount of time is that you're not going to get too attached, because it's, let's say you spend like 10-15 minutes on one of these characters and it ends up not looking good, then you just wasted, or you didn't waste, but then you just spent those 10-15 minutes and you can just make a new one. So you didn't go in and do detail and all that stuff before you figured out that, crap, I have to start over again. You found that out during the sketchy phase, and that is very good. So keep it small, keep it quick and light on the feet in the beginning until you have something that you feel like, yeah, this is has the right to move into part 2. So I'm blocking out like part of the upper body here as well, just to kind of get a feel for the whole portrait, if you will. I think I'm gonna give him some mustache. Some chops. It's gonna look a bit angry or very like he made up his mind. He's looking at something. And a cool place to use the airbrush now, for example, is to just give that sort of soft shadow from top to bottom of his face, for example. And immediately it gives more of this 3D feel to it. I'm going back to the Jita brush. Sorry for the weird names on the brushes, but it's always like you make a new brush and it's like, what should I call this one? I have a ton of rulle brushes, but the cool thing with this one, if you're a bit into brushes, and ever since Procreate 5 came out, you have dual brush system. It's a totally new brush system after Procreate 5. So these are two brushes that are put together, a fully functional, like a dual brush, and you can choose how they're going to be combined, and you have tons of setting on each of the brushes. And yeah, so you can check out my brush tutorial to get a bit more into that. In my Schoolism course, I go through the newest features. Okay, so I'm going to start a little with the eyes here. Thought of giving him kind of like a dark area around the eyes. And just giving the ear a little detail. But it's kind of like sculpting shapes, you know, it's you pick another value and then you can draw that in. So I kind of avoided line art pretty much, but it's still like when I draw the eye, I'm still kind of back to the line art. So I grew up with doing the line art, but I wanted to learn the way of not using line art, like Craig Mullins or Sergei Koltsov. So looked at their art. I didn't use the line art first, and I always wanted to get rid of my lines, so I had to learn how to sort of block shapes and stuff like that and build it up more in a painterly fashion. And I really love both methods. I think knowing both is stronger than just knowing one, and I really recommend everybody to learn both methods. And I will often use both in the same painting or sketch. I think I'll just pull down his surroundings a bit just to get a feel for it's not really an environment, but it's more like a background. That's also a great place to use the round brush, because it's just like a filter. I can press hard and it goes black, but if I just want to tone it down to a specific value, it does that really evenly and perfectly. So the guy really pops out now if I darken that. So I can also darken the rest of his jacket or so. Just gonna check out what's going on in the chat. Would be so cool if somebody could read this to me, but I understand that's not possible. Yeah, nice. All right, I've saved the eyes, like I've weighted with the eyes itself. It's a little cool. I'm also going to use this Jita brush just to give him a bit sort of rough, sort of unshaved. So that's part of what I love this brush, is you have that really great texture you can use. So maybe, well, I'm going to zoom a bit more in now just to get his eyes. I kind of want to maybe something like that. So that's sort of enough, like that's a sketch. So that can be put in together with the others, and then we start a new one. Something different. Just gonna check time. I'm having so much fun when I'm painting, and I totally forget the time. So yeah, I'm gonna check that from time to time. Okay, starting a new one. I'm gonna just use the round brush in the beginning for this one, and we see where it goes. Yeah. Gonna go a bit more cartoony sort of on this one. But here I want to get the eyes in a little early, just to get that sort of point of direction where it's looking. Not even sure what this is yet. I kind of like the beaky nose, but why not just make it a beak? Could be a bird, right? It's a bird. Sometimes a sketch doesn't need to take more than this. I'm gonna use the airbrush again. Just to give that a bit more sort of soft shadows. So you see, even though I'm not painting on like a gray background or so, I use the values both on the character and around very what's it called, on purpose. Like it's not random, it's usually not white around, but it can also be, but I think it's nice just to play it down. I used to work on gray background I don't think it really matters anymore. If you just tone it down, you can avoid the horror of the white canvas. Just gonna give that maybe a bit different shape. Maybe it's like not like a vulture, but a bit more personality to the beak. I must say I love both sort of naturalistic stuff and comic stuff. I do both, and I love characters and I love environments. I think it's so much fun to do more than just one thing. Yeah, it's a bit of a pissed off bird. But you see also with the round brush, it's really, you can do anything. Look at Anthony Jones's work, for example. Like, he's a master with the round brush. I think a brush is important, but it's not crucial to the end result. It's more about how you use the brushes, but I also wouldn't say that the brush doesn't matter at all, because I love different brushes and making brushes, and yeah, I think it's a very powerful and fun part of painting in Procreate. Okay, that's the bird. Bird one. Okay, let's do another one. I'm gonna start showing some new features soon. This could just be the regular Procreate up until this point. Okay, let's do another character. I'm gonna go back to my good old, or we can, not this one, the bit softer one, so you can see that one in action as well. So trying to find some interesting shape. It's important to also use, just gonna set the same eraser. It's important to use the eraser as well. Like, that's almost as important as the brush, like to kind of chisel in and out of what you're doing. Almost like sculpting. You're adding some clay and then you're removing some clay, and then it's a girl. kind of thinking a bit of like the Ronja. What's it called in English? Ronja Rövardatter. It was a Swedish movie about it's almost like a small, wouldn't say Viking clan, but a bit in this same sort of age. And she was a little girl that was the daughter of the chief. Ronja Röver, what's that in, like a bandit daughter or so. It's a movie everybody in Scandinavia grew up with. Astrid Lindgren, she's the author of so many cool stuff. She's a legend. So this one has a bit of a fierce look as well. Not totally sure about those eyes. Another cool tool is Liquify. You see the adjustment menu here is a bit different than the store version. And I'm going to show you some of these awesome new stuff. But Liquify is fantastic. So if you don't like something with your character, or if you want to, move stuff around just to try out to move like proportions, or maybe the eyes should be a bit lower. I kind of like her face to be a bit more pinched together like that. It's a bit more cartoony. She looks a bit younger. But she definitely looks like somebody who would say, "No, I'm not gonna do that." She strong-willed girl. Maybe she's bleeding a little, like she fell. Maybe she was playing Her Mother Is Mad at Her. Why do you keep climbing in the trees? Because it's fun. Okay, something like that. Her hair is all over the place. It's like Harry Potter would look if he was a girl. Okay, I'm gonna push this into color so I can actually show you some of the new cool features. Just give me a second here. So the way I usually go about getting color on a sketch is that I use my selection tool and I pick automatic. Look at this. You can paint selection now. I'm not going to use that right now, but I'm going to go to automatic and I'm going to pick the outside of her. And then I'm going to invert. So now I have a selection of her. And I'm going to make a new layer, put that underneath, and I'm going to add just a value. Fill. So that's a bit dark, but the main point here is to have a full silhouette. So I'm going to go for hue, saturation, brightness. Oh, look at that. some new stuff. Layer or pencil. I'm gonna go for layer. So that's the good old one. I'm gonna just brighten that up so it matches her. And then I'm gonna merge these two. So now I have her on a solid layer. So now I can, you know, doesn't matter what I do, she's not transparent anymore. And then I'm gonna alpha lock her, which I also have here on my quick menu. And I'm gonna use curves. Oh, layer or pencil? For now, just layer. So let's give her a nice value to begin with here. So I'm just going to give her a little push in some direction, just like a foundation. And oh, look at this. There's something new. You can preview, you can cancel the whole thing, you can reset, or you can apply or undo. So that's a nifty new little menu there. I'm going to press apply. And now for something cool, something new. Okay, back in the adjustments menu, I'm going to press curves, but this time I'm going to go for pencil. And what is that? So you see this little thing here? I can now pick a brush. I'm going to use the airbrush. And I can paint. I got the buggy one. Typical. Okay, I'm going to go for a round brush. Unfortunately, you saw another little bug we have with a beta version. I actually just need an airbrush. Let's see how this works. Default one. Yeah, that's better. So when you use the pencil layer, so you can just affect what you just want to affect. So I'm gonna put it back to basic, and I'm gonna put some skin tone or some nice red in there. And the cool thing with this is that you can keep adding with the brush. You can erase. So you can still keep adjusting where it's affecting, and at the same time you can still noodle about with your curves here. So that is pretty damn awesome. So that gives her at least a little foundation. I'm gonna do one more pencil. Gonna use the airbrush again. Gonna just reset the brush here. I'm gonna go bit more purple in her cheeks. So of course I could also use just the airbrush and the red, but then you couldn't adjust like this. So that's pretty new and nifty and cool. So let's keep painting a bit on her. Another really cool feature is that, let's say you want to blur part of her face, like the part that's furthest away. But you want that soft gradient in the blur. That's been impossible until now. Now we can do that. I think I want her mouth to be a bit open. Yeah, Cheeky tooth. Haha. That old hag is gonna limp for weeks. What did you do, Rania? Sorry. Having too much fun here. Okay. Just gonna get a little sort of brown color on her clothing. I'm gonna push everything a little this direction. Okay, so let's say we want to blur part of this. And we go into Gaussian blur, pencil. Now let's, okay, we can use the round brush. So you see that the slider is on max by default, but oh, we need to open the alpha lock. Back into Gaussian blur, pencil. We have the round brush. Yeah. So I can now paint the amount of blur I want. If I paint really hard, you see this happens, and then you see that it's just super blurred. So you can really adjust it exactly how you want it. It's really, really cool. So to paint like stuff out of focus, for example, and you get this, you get a perfect transition. It's not like you opacity blur something on top of something else. It's really does it in the right way. And you can, of course, because it's a paint filter, you can also erase. You can paint that back into focus, and then you can adjust how much this should be. So that's pretty darn cool. Another very cool feature is glow. Let's use layer for this one. So we can, I haven't played too much with this, but this we have to just check out. But you can get a nice glow going. But it's all about finding the right setting. But it's a lot to play with here, and it's really like, that's before and after, so it's really nice little glow here in her face. Just gonna put the background more into something like she's a forest girl. Another cool feature is glitch. This is a very fun one to play around with. Like, this is, anybody loves the old video games or the old VHS stuff? The sound effects does not come with it, but I love this. I love that stuff. Just messing something up, you know. Can be subtle like that. It's kind of like almost like motion blur. Reset or cancel, actually. And one of my favorites, one of the things that I often done with my artwork is halftone. No, not halftone. Well, this is very cool as well. Newspaper. super halftone. Ta-da! Yeah, it is very cool. Like halftone is very cool. You can also do, let me just go back. If I were to duplicate her, then do halftone on the top one, newspaper, so you can have that sort of comic booky look, but still on top of the colors. That's pretty cool. Here looks like the thing in Into the Spider-Verse. What a movie, by the way, Into the Spider-Verse. I love it. It's that was such a big inspiration when that came out. But actually I mispressed. I wanted to show chromatic aberration. This is one of my favorite things to mess around with. So you can do a lot of cool stuff with that. It's something that I've often done in my own artwork, just for the cool effect it has, but I've done it manually, and it's a little job in itself. There you can give that little sort of video. So let's say you want this effect, but you don't want it on the whole thing, then you can cancel this. You can go in and have it on pencil instead. So then we make it just to a certain degree, and then we use the airbrush to sort of paint it, maybe just like a halo around, and then you can mess around with this, with the channels. That's really, really, really cool. So much fun in this update. It's a fun update. Yeah, I cannot show everything. It's so much to show. But let's do another little doodle, huh? Okay, I'm gonna start a canvas, and then can you come up with something? What should I draw? Maybe somebody has an idea. One last little sketch. Okay, I'm looking at the chat now. It's almost catched up. Any wishes for what sort of character to sketch? A cat. Okay, that was the first one. A cat. Oh, it's coming in a lot of suggestions now. Okay, I'm gonna go for the cat here. And transform tool, speaking of new features, whoa, look, what's going on? You couldn't do this before, could ya? No, you couldn't. It's a new little feature. Well, I actually wanted to make her a little smaller. All right. Actually put in the nose now before the eye shadows. Like, what's the word for that? This is gonna be a tired, scrawny little street cat. Doesn't the cat sound like, yeah, everything is like in a circle? I used to have a cat, or I used to have 2 cats. I like cats, but I am more a dog person. Okay, I want to get that dark surrounding. Make the cat pop. Some fluffy. Yeah, English is not my first language, so when I'm trying to remember what the name of the fluffy part on the side of the nose, it's, yeah, sorry. Puffies. It looks a bit like a dog, but that's the special thing about this cat. It's been in more than one fight. Lost them all. That's sort of the blessing in the curves of drawing from your imagination, is that if you don't know what a cat looks like, it's not maybe gonna look like a cat. But that's also part of the fun part. It's gonna be unique. Put some nice patterns, cat it up a bit. I'm just gonna read a bit of your comments here. Yeah, paper-like is also what I've heard is the best protector. I don't use a protector. Cat was trying to catch all Lightbox talks, yeah. It's only like 300-400, isn't it? It should be okay. Meow. It's a real cat if it doesn't have whiskers. Use the round brush to kind of, not too happy with these eyes. Maybe get a little rim light on the side here. A bit sort of backlit, sitting there on top of the fence in the moonlight or street light. Looking up at the dog that's inside, cuddled in front of the fireplace. This cat is thinking, how can I kill that dog? Such a big dog. Or maybe replace is better. We have another brush that we haven't used for this demo yet. Maybe something like this. Looking up at the stars. Okay. I think that was my cat sketch. Oops. Here we go. It's okay. That was at least a few sketches. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. I can't hear any of you, but yeah, let me read a few of the comments here. I don't have an art book, so that's more the art station I would go to. Again, check out my my wall, aisle 700, to check out tutorials, YouTube channel, Instagram, that sort of stuff, and the bin. Check out the bin. There's something in the bin. Will this be saved? I think so. Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I think so. I think it's gonna be accessible for a long time, and yeah. So let's just say it will be accessible for a long time. And selling any prints? Yes, I'm selling prints. That's also on my art station. I put up a bunch of new ones, even the newest one, sort of the secret little thing you saw in the background here. This one on my desktop. It's a new little, yeah, commission there. Secret stuff, almost secret stuff. Not anymore because I just showed it, but yeah, you know. Okay, thank you everybody. It was lovely having you here, and have fun with the last Lightbox day, and see you around. Okay, bye.